Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Next Chapter podcast. I'm excited to have my beautiful mother and role model here with me again today. I wanted to have a conversation with my mother. I think that she is a wonderful role model, and I thought it would be fun to just have a conversation and to learn from her experiences as a mother. She has had a wonderful career and working at different points throughout my life, and I thought that she could have some great insights into what life is like as a working mother. And so, welcome, Mom, Pamela.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I thought maybe it would be interesting to kind of share your experience, kind of working throughout motherhood.
Okay. I, along with many other women, my vintage, went to school, graduated from University of Michigan, and I, at the time, was a second generation University of Michigan student. My mother went to Michigan for all of 6 weeks, lived in Helen, Newberry, and then left to get married. I graduated and became a teacher. Taught for 4 years. When your brother, Eric, was born, I always thought of myself as a working mom. Actually, Andrea, I don't know if you know, your grandmother and my mom had her own business. She actually volunteered first, teaching art classes to um, uh, people in a hospital outpatient center who struggled with some mental health challenges. And this was a way for them to express themselves and for her to give back. She later sold antique art prints and decorated, would go and hang, have these antique prints framed and created wall displays for her friends and clients. So I grew up with two parents who were very entrepreneurial. When Eric was born, I still wanted to have some teaching experience, and so I tutored for a while. I actually tutored at home, and then worked at a clinic as a reading specialist, which I found interesting. And then somewhere along the way, I decided I wanted to do something other than teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to school and got a degree in computer science.
That I remember because
Yeah,
I was alive, and I remember you sitting
yeah,
in the dining room. Vividly remember studying with your study groups, and so that is something that stuck with me and kind of helped
right,
pave my path too.
right. So one thing about juggling, uh, work life, family life, I will tell you a short story. And your brother may not be happy about it, but somehow I was on my way to one of my classes and I got a call from the principal of the middle school who said I had to come and pick my son up because he was in a fight. And I thought that is so not like Eric. But apparently, there was some minor altercation that brought Eric and this other boy to the principal's office. By that time, both boys were talking to each other and totally forgot what their fight was about. But here I was running to school to pick Eric up on my way to class. And the biggest punishment, I would say, was that he couldn't go home and just relax for this detention. He had to go with me to my class and sit during a 2 hour computer science lecture. That was the last time Erica ever um, caused some kind of detention that required me to go to the school.
But that's interesting because it's something that I actually speak about with a lot of my clients is building a support system. I mean, that was a kind of a punishment, or not saying that there wasn't the support system in place, but there are some people that just they don't have another place to bring their child, and so they had a commitment to themselves, and that you had a choice. Are you going to miss your class and sit at home with your child, or you were going to go because that was important to you?
Well, I had to go. And so it is something we joke about today. So some things that are painful for a kid or a mom really become part of the fabric of the stories of family life.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Eric about it just recently, and we did laugh about it. So, at any rate, um, got this degree in computer science, and a lot of it was I had to come up with a project, thesis type of project. And I drew back on my own teaching career, and you'll probably remember I created a computer game
Yeah.
called Universe.
That's so
And
cool.
so what you use from one aspect of your life is never lost. I've
Mm-hmm.
always thought of myself as, some an educator. And so I found that all of the jobs that I was offered once I got this master's, and I was going to be in this whole new career. All the jobs I got were for traveling, which again, as a mom, as part of the family, I could not leave. And so I was I was given the opportunity from my dad, your grandfather, to automate his insurance agency,
Mm-hmm.
which I did for a year. And his office was automated, and uh, then and it worked out great because I could leave if I had to. I had the luxury of balancing work and family. And so then I continued to work in the insurance business because the office manager left. And I think it was the mission of your grandfather to keep me there. And so he offered me this job as still, maintaining the computer operations and also managing the office. And for 40 plus years, I've been doing just that. We sold our business, and I'm about to retire after a 3-year commitment to the national brokerage that we sold our business to. But what is interesting is that over the time that I managed the office, I still was an educator. there were employees that actually were kids, my kids' age. They were, I
We
had,
worked there a couple times. Some of my friends worked there. Eric's friends worked there.
and what was interesting was that I still hear from employees who really are friends, colleagues, how much I taught them about being good at underwriting, being good at servicing, being good at writing. They would laugh because they said I always had this invisible red pen that they saw because I would correct grammar, always say in a supportive, educational way. But
Of
I'd like
course.
to think that I have always thought of myself as an educator. So I'm at the point now where I'm about to fully retire, and I can tell you I have my magic countdown. I think it's 102 days till I fully retire. And I can relate to clients of yours who are looking to see what is their next chapter.
Hmm.
Because for me, I have a whole new chapter where I don't have even though I speak to you and your brother all the time. I stay in touch with my 5 grandkids all the time. That I need to figure out who am I after retirement.
Hmm.
So I think that you've coached me at times, which is kind of weird because
What's so weird about it?
well, because
You help me with insurance questions. I mean, it's
that's
someone's something that someone is good at. Or if I need legal advice, I ask Dad. Or if you need market advice, you'll ask Eric. But
so. Let me ask you the question:
okay.
what are the things in 102 days I will be fully retired? And so, just like your clients who are trying to figure out their next chapter, what few kernels of advice or thoughts I should be thinking about as I create my next chapter?
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story and your journey with me. And it is interesting how, retirement is very similar to what, some of my clients are going through. So I always like to say, an exercise that I do with my clients is kind of, we do a value exploration. So, going back to thinking about what your core values are, and core values, I mean, so you can have values that you've had your entire life, and then you can have values that may change throughout your life depending on where you are kind of in your journey. And so, I always start with beginning of our program kind of an exploration into what your core values are. So I would flip it back on you. So what are some of your kind of core values?
Okay, so in my asking you the question, I didn't think it was going to have a boomerang effect. But let me just share a couple things that I've been thinking about, and no more questions that you can ask me. So that has to be, that's your mother speaking. So Well, there are a few things that I'm thinking about. I've always loved learning,
Mm-hmm.
always. I've stacked up 3 degrees along the way. And uh, I'm excited about taking some classes in um, subjects that I'd just like to learn more about. Um, More about um, art history.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to learn more about wine. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, but there's a lot about wine that I'd like to learn more about. Um,
When you learn about the wine, can you include me on some kind of wine trip? We can do like a wine tour together, a girls' wine
yes,
tour,
there are
mother
many
daughter wine tour.
there are many ways of learning. It's not just in the classroom,
Right.
for sure.
We need an experiential mother daughter wine tour.
Right, right. And there are different aspects of history. Um, I listen to more about politics and the state of the country and world. Um, I am quite passionate about the effect that anti Semitism has had on um, our family,
Mm-hmm.
our kids growing up, our grandson who's in college. Um, it is frightening, and we're doing some exploration of organizations and things that we can do to maybe uh, do our part. You know, everyone you hear about climate issues, and it's such a big thing, but what small things can each of us do, whether it's climate, anti Semitism, drug addiction? There's so many things. And so I'd like to spend time thinking about those things, learning more ways that I can, in my own small way, make a difference. And finally, I took up golf again just a year ago. I'd like to improve. I mean, that's a definite goal of mine. So that gives you an idea of some of the things that are meaningful to me, some of the things that I think would be enjoyable, and some of the ways I hope to make a difference.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. I didn't mean to boomerang it back to you, but I think that that's helpful for the listeners to kind of hear the thread of your passion for learning. That's been something that has been important to you throughout your life, and now you're just taking it in a different, a different direction, and also the importance of continuing to give back. I know you didn't mention as part of your journey how philanthropic you are, and how throughout um, my life and what I've seen, how you're constantly giving back to others and to different communities. So that's really important. Is, like I said, I starting with going back to those core values. And then from there, I work with clients and I would help clients kind of develop a plan. Okay, so you want to learn more, you want to start more classes, and then we would work on kind of adding that into your life and doing the research and talking about it and what does it mean to you. But really, a great start is going back to those, reconnecting with those core values. And maybe some of them were being met while you were working, and others may not have been met because it just there wasn't enough time to be able to do all of it. And so that's why really reconnecting with values is a great place to start. So I appreciate you kind of sharing your journey, and as you start your next chapter, that others can really learn from your experience, and understanding that at any point we're all along this journey, and we're all constantly, I guess, kind of the takeaway here is to continue to evolve. And when you have those moments, those pivotal moments of where you're not sure where to turn to next, turn inward and to think about your core values and what may not be being fulfilled at any given moment. So thank you for being a guest, Mom. I love you.
Love you too.